Just to hammer home what blockchain is, I want to give you one last example. And this is for, this is in the context of business. So I'll just try and explain how blockchain can be used not as a digital currency and not as a administrative tool like we talked about with the documents, but as a business opportunity to create businesses around blockchain technology. So here it's relevant to look at something like Ethereum, because Ethereum is another blockchain, Bitcoin is a blockchain, Ethereum is another blockchain. It's a cryptocurrency, but it is a completely different beast than Bitcoin is. So the big difference is that Ethereum lets people program stuff on their blockchain. So where Bitcoin is this closed system that just has this currency that people can exchange, they cannot change it, they cannot tamper with it. Ethereum is more like an open source thing where people can build things on the Ethereum blockchain. You can kind of think of Ethereum as the internet or an electricity grid. And the cryptocurrency called ETH or Ether, which is used on the Ethereum blockchain, is kind of the electricity that runs on the electricity network. And it powers all of these apps and things that people can build on top of the power grid. This is all made possible by something called smart contracts. I'll cover this topic specifically in another video where we go full in depth on what smart contracts is. But now let's try and look at it through the lens of explaining what blockchain is and what blockchain can be used for. Because with smart contracts, the use cases for blockchain technology just becomes, I want to say, almost unlimited, at least a lot more wide range than just using it for digital currency. So smart contracts are basically just a piece of code that executes a simple function on the blockchain. So as an example, we can use Uber to try and understand how this works. So when you request an Uber ride, you send this request out in Uber's network. A driver will then accept your request and will come and pick you up. And when your ride is over, you will pay the driver through the Uber app. This is all handled by the company Uber. The company Uber is a centralized entity, which means that they're a company that controls the entire network. So the security, the reliability, and the operability of the network is in the hands of a few individuals, and no other users of the network has any control over the network. It's just this minority group of people at the Uber company that has the control over the entire system, that controls these transactions between drivers and people who want to take an Uber. And also, like we saw with the credit card example before, when you pay the driver, a lot of different fees are paid because there's a lot of intermediaries, like we talked about before, the payment providers, the banks, there might be different currencies. If you're on vacation taking an Uber, there's the exchange rate between different currencies and all of that kind of stuff. And so again, here we can see that there's a lot of intermediaries, there's a lot of risk, because the whole control of the system is centralized with a few people, and there's all of these intermediaries and third parties that are interfering with the system, the payment providers, the banks, and all of that. And so there's a lot of security risks. All of these different intermediaries or Uber's system can break down. They can lose all of their data, and because it's not distributed like it is on the blockchain, it would actually be lost. And also Uber can go bankrupt, and everyone that has money in the system can lose their money. With smart contracts, you will be able to have a system exactly like Uber, but where you are actually paying the driver directly, where there's no middleman, there's no Uber company that takes care of the transaction. It's just a transaction between you and the guy driving the Uber. So there's a lot less risk, it's a lot faster, smoother, more reliable, just better, really. This would not be possible to build on the Bitcoin blockchain because Bitcoin is built as just a digital currency. The way it's coded makes it impossible to make these smart contracts on the Bitcoin blockchain, but the Ethereum blockchain is made in a way where these things are actually possible. So again, what this means is that Bitcoin is the store of value and just a digital currency, a digital kind of gold. And Ethereum is more like I said, like the internet. It's more like a network that people can build businesses upon, like the internet, or like a power grid, like I said. And so they're actually nothing alike, even though they're both cryptocurrencies. So how can businesses use smart contracts to build products? Well, one example is through NFTs. So I'll cover NFTs in a separate video, but I'll just use it here as example of how you can build a business on the blockchain. So an NFT is a representation of ownership on the Ethereum blockchain. So what this means is you can create a token on the blockchain. Now you own this token and it cannot be copied, it cannot be falsified, and it cannot be destroyed. So now you can attach this token to something like an image, for example. The image can be copied, but the token cannot. So once those two are attached to each other, you will always be able to prove that this image is the original image and all other images are copies of the original. NFT stands for Non-Fungible Token. Fungible just means replaceable, so it's a non-replaceable token. This is going to revolutionize something like art or music or book publishing, but there are other more like traditional business cases for it. For example, the shoe company New Balance has worked on a project where they would use NFTs to verify the authenticity of a sneaker. So now that you have this market of sneakers where people are actually collecting sneakers and then selling them many years later for insane amounts of money, this becomes very valuable. The fact that you can actually, in a reliable way, prove the authenticity of a sneaker, for example. So this is one way of building a product upon the NFT technology, which builds on the Ethereum blockchain. Another use case for NFTs are something like CryptoKitties. And what CryptoKitties is a collection game where you can collect different digital kittens, and these kittens have a unique genetic code, and you can then breed them with other kittens, and you can create new kittens in that way that then inherit some of that genetic code from their digital parents. You can then trade your kitties with other users of this collection game. So this might sound a little bit foolish, but think of it in the context of something like Pokemon. Pokemon is basically the same thing. You can collect Pokemon, you can train them, you can breed them, and you can trade them with other players of Pokemon or other collectors of Pokemon, right? Recently, the value of Pokemon cards have exploded, skyrocketed completely because some of the older editions of the cards are not produced anymore, and so that creates this scarcity where you cannot obtain these cards anymore unless you buy them from a collector, and so the price just skyrockets. And you can have exactly the same thing with these digital kitties because of how the blockchain technology works and how NFTs work. And Pokemon is today the most valuable brand in the world. And there are several other things that NFTs can do that something like Pokemon cards can't do. So for example, they're a digital thing, so they can evolve. Imagine if you had bought a first edition Charizard. most valuable Pokemon card in the world. And this Charizard you could do stuff with. You could train it, you could battle it against other Pokemon, and you could have a record of who it has battled against, who it has won against, how you have trained it. You could develop its skills to be better. And so not only would you have this first edition Charizard, but it would also be completely unique because of how you have trained it and who you have battled with against it. Another thing is the ownership record. So you might have this first edition Charizard, but imagine if you could see a reliable ownership record of that Charizard card. So you might see that Elon Musk has owned this Charizard Pokemon card at one point. Do you think that that would affect the value of that card? Because I sure as hell think so. And that is some of the advantages of NFTs that are going to, again, revolutionize something like collecting cards or just gaming in general. You can use this in so many different ways with online gaming and collectibles, for example. Also, the NFT technology can handle the issue of paying royalties to the originator of the token. And so if you produce a piece of music or a book or a painting or something, the whole thing about keeping track of how that thing is being used by other people and you getting the royalties for that use, that is built into the system and happens automatically. And so this is going to revolutionize all of these industries like art, music, book publishing, collectibles, online gaming. So many different industries can benefit from this technology. Now, I know that this is a lot of information all at once, but I'm going to go more into depth with each and every single term in this whole ecosystem of cryptocurrencies in later videos and later in this guide that I'm creating. I just want to show you guys the different use cases for the blockchain technology, which makes it so interesting. So NFTs is just one thing that smart contracts give rise to, but smart contracts also creates possibility of a lot of other products or services being made, like financial services, borrowing and lending, exchanging different cryptos for other cryptos, something like insurance, something like voting, or something like identification systems. It can all run on this smart contract technology on Ethereum. Because of the decentralized nature of the blockchain, it is possible to make sure that the information that is stored and traded on the blockchain is always reliable and secure, and just that in itself solves a lot of problems in the world. So to try and sum everything up here at the end, you can say that blockchain is just a decentralized database that allows for a very secure and reliable store of data. Blockchain is not the same as cryptocurrency. Blockchain is the cryptographic technology that cryptocurrency is built upon. The way that I personally see this, to understand it for myself, is this. If you've ever asked yourself, how do we handle a future where everything is digital? Like where our money, our identity, everything is digital. Blockchain is the answer to that. It can handle the digitization of society, of all the data, all the information in society being stored digitally in a secure, reliable way. That is what blockchain is. So if you would like to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button, and I'll just see you guys in the next video.